Yay! Hold in a horizontal position. You got it. Excitebike World Rally. There's something nostalgic about this game. I don't know why. Would you like to create? No, I'm good. That's fine. Fine. God, make one. They all asked me for a name. I'm done. Oh, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use the World Tour. Wait. Track editor. World Tour Bronze Kyoto. Yeah, this was a game that came out for the Wii. Oh, okay. Well, it's a tutorial. 3, 2. Oh man, it's so. Good job, you passed lesson. Wheelies. What did it say? Uh-oh. I shouldn't have. Oh my god, I like the little camera guy. Little camera dude. Oh, good job. Landing jumps. While in the air, you can control the angle of your bike by pressing left or right. Line your bike with the ground as you land. So the thing I just did, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying I should do? Is that what I should be doing? I passed the lesson. Barriers. Actually, okay, if you can't avoid one, do a wheelie just before hitting it to right over it. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Oh! I cannot. Let me try again. I mean, should I just avoid it? No. Yeah, I did it. That wasn't what I was actually trying to, I just didn't see where it was. Feather riders are in your way and you can't get around them. Do a wheelie and ride over them. You want me to do a wheelie over these guys? All right, here we go. Yeah. Get out of my Wii. Oh, I'm stupid. I hit training like an idiot. Ooh. I'll do red. I'll do the red one. All right, so I've got a time. I gotta beat 117. We're in Japan. You can tell by the Japanese flag. And Mount Fuji in the background. Nice landing. Thanks, man. No! I forgot. I forward is not wheelie. Backward is wheelie. Go! All right. Oh, it's 2 laps? Okay. I can do this. I can beat the time. But yeah, Excitebike was it was a Nintendo like NES game. I remember playing. I had NES Excitebike, and it was one of those games where I was like, "Oh, this is neat," but also it felt very basic. And I think it might have felt that way because like I didn't get it until later. And a lot of the original like NES games, like the black box ones, they were pretty like straightforward games. They didn't have a whole lot going on. They were all like soccer game is a game called soccer, game called pinball, game called like that kind of thing. So they're very simple, basic kind of games, and not in a bad way, but they're just they were. But I was playing other games like Zelda 2 and like Ninja Gaiden, and they were a lot more involved. Like there was more stuff. The graphics were more elaborate. The gameplay had way more stuff to do. So that's kind of what I was used to. And also like Super Nintendo, right? And I'm expecting games to just be, they're not just little small games. They're all large games with a lot of things that you can do. But by the time I got Excitebike, I already had Super Nintendo and the Genesis. But you know, I still had the NES, and I would still play it. But I remember playing and being like, "Oh, this is fun! Like, what else can you do?" And then it's like, "That's what do you mean? What do you mean? What else can you like? That's it. That's the game." It's like, "What do you mean? That's the game? That can't be the game." It's like, "Yeah, you just race," and it was just because it was from a time when, you know, the games were simpler. And I mean, I still liked it, but I always was like, "Oh man, I wish they had like a more elaborate one." And I know they came out with this, and this one has the same thing because I guess the main, not gimmick, but one of the main draws of Excitebike was that you can make your own levels, and the only thing was that you couldn't save them because there was no battery inside of the console, inside of the cartridge. So it was just like, oh cool, look, I made this level, and then you like never played again. And I think with this one you can do that, but you can actually save the levels. And back when it had online capability because the Wii, whatever, I think you can also like trade your tracks with your friends or something. I don't know. I'd have to look that up, but I feel like that's something they would do. All right, here we go. And yeah, I don't know. I think this is a neat little upgrade. I know there's a Super Nintendo one that only came out in Japan that's got like Mario characters on it, but I've never played that. Maybe I should actually. Maybe I should. Oh, did I just dunk on someone? I'm out here dunking donuts. All right. Yeah, when you go fast, you can avoid obstacles, which is the whole point. It's such a simple game, and it's, I don't know, like, I think it's well designed. I think it's a fun little thing. Also, I believe, based off of the menus and how this looks, and that S rank grade that I'm familiar with, and even like the like choose your color type thing, this feels like it was made by the people who made Excite Truck on this same console. Because I'll do the blue one. Because Excite Truck had a similar, like the same fonts, the same menu options, but it was I guess in the same series or franchise of Excite. But it was wild. That game was fun as hell. I haven't played it in years, but I used to love it because it was one of the only it was one of like 2 or 3 games on the Wii where you can put your own music on it. So you put your music on an SD card, and then while you play the maps, it's a racing game. You're playing as a truck, as the name implies. What is that? No, give it back. I want it. While you're doing that, you're playing to your own music. So I'm a nerd, and also I get, like, when I like something, I get kind of like obsessive about it, where like I'll be introduced to something and I'm like, oh, I really like this, and then part of me is like, that's all I can think about. Like, I can't think about anything else. Like, that's the only thing. Like, how can I take this thing that's great and like become like engrossed by it and like enveloped by it? And whoa! And Excite Truck was one of those things where I was just like, oh man, like this game is so cool. Like the maps are really good, and like the music is like you can choose your own music. So what I started doing was, as I got better at the game, it's like, because it wasn't like a super elaborate thing where you can put, like, you put your music and then, you know, it like, you know, basically what would happen is, like, at the end of the song, at the end of your MP3 file, it would just, oh yeah, those are never gonna happen. It's not available anymore. So what would happen is, like, you know, like you play, say you play your song, or your song plays in the background, and then when it finishes, it just restarts, right? So one of the things was, like, if you have a course that's on average takes you 4 minutes to beat, and then you pick a song that's like 3.5 minutes, you're getting to the climax of the race, you know, you're like at the last part where it's like, oh, it's do or die. And then what's actually happening is your song is restarting at like the spot, right? And I'm a kind of person when I play games where I like to listen to the music and kind of get like I want to be fully invested in it. And so like, you know, some people, I remember like they would play Smash Brothers, but they play without audio, or they would put on headphones when they play. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like, I need to hear the jams in the background. I need to hear the punchy sounds and everything. Like the audio cues that the game gives off, I think for me just enhance it. And if I play with volume down, it just feels weird. And so I learned, like, I started paying attention to which, I was like, which songs or which maps that I'm doing or which tracks, how long are they for me to play them, right? Because it'll have like this is the gold crown or gold star rank. What is it called? Like this is the time to beat in order to get this rank, right? Which is fine. But on some of them, I was beating it by like 30 seconds or something because I knew how to play the game, right? I was all about it. I was all in. It captured me. I was, you know. So I was like, huh. So I would go on my iTunes and be like, well, I'm like, I need songs that would fit, and then like this theme is like this one's like a desert theme, and it's about 2.5 minutes long. So like, what would be a good song for this? So let me sort my iTunes music by what is it? Let me sort my iTunes music by length and kind of see like, okay, so I've got these, you know, 20 songs in my library that are around the length of that, and you know, I can go over by a little bit if I need to, just to make sure that, you know, in case I don't do as well in the race, I can still, you know, I can still have the music playing correctly and not like looping in at the climax of the thing, because that's like a real like bummer killer, or like bummer, like it kills the, like, not the mood, but like the kind of like the not adrenaline, I don't know what to call it, but like the feeling that you get when you're like, oh god, you're like super focused and you're like, oh my god, like I have to win, and like I have to do it now, and you know, I'm at the, it's kind of like in Splatoon when they play Now or Never and you're like, oh god, like they're right, it is now or never, and you know, it just kind of hypes you up because the song is so like intense. And then if you didn't have that music at the end playing, it would kind of lose some of that appeal or power. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I would do on my iTunes, and I'd just look up and see like which songs would fit, and you know, what songs would be good, and if it's a desert level, like, I don't know which song kind of has like a feel that would go in a. So I was literally like creating a soundtrack for the game based off the visuals and the time limit to like, and then I would do them all, and then I would like, because you have to go into the map and like set it. So I'd go into the map, I have to set it. I think I had like a list of like what goes where, and then I would play it, and then I would play the map, and it's like, okay, cool, this did fit, this didn't fit. And I did that for a little bit because I was like, well, I want to get them all down. And then once I got them down, then it's like, all right, well, now I'm going to play the game again, because I had already beaten the game at that point, but I hadn't gotten all like the gold ranks or whatever. So now that I had like the timer stuff, I put it on with the music correctly. And then, yeah, just proceeded to play the game. And I don't think I ever fully completed everything, because there was some maps that were just like really, really hard. But I got pretty good at it. Like I was surprised at how well I was able to control that game, because it was all like, it came out, I think it was a launch title or like an early Wii game, like within the first 6 months kind of game. So it was like, oh, the Wii has a tilt controller, so all the movement is done with moving the controller. So there was no like, it wasn't like Mario Kart where you just use the, you know, the joystick to play or whatever. Like, it's all motion based. So when your car's moving at ridiculous speeds and you're playing with motion controls, like, it takes a level of, and I think there's also drifting or something. I don't remember. It's been a long time. And then there's like drifting mechanics and this, that, and the other, and boosts and turbos, and I don't know. It's just wild. And for me to have gotten all that down, and then being like finding ways to enhance the experience, because I would play this. I think we had it hooked up to like a stereo or something. So when I would play, it was loud. So it was like I'm listening to the music, hearing all the like, you know, the car engine sound effect stuff. Oh, I didn't make it. And just having a blast, right? And I don't know. I look back to that time, and it's like I said, it's very. I don't know if nerdy is the right way or the right word to use, but I was very obsessed with this needs to be as good as it can. Like, I want to experience this in its fullest, right? And I think I've always been that way. But something about that time frame really reminds me of that, because I was super invested in like picking out all the songs, and even to the point where like there'd be some songs that I'm like, oh man, this song would be dope for this level because of this, that, and the other. But it has a really long intro that's like 45 seconds long, and when you start the game, it just throws you in. There's no like skip intro thing, right? Like, it just plays the MP3 file that you put on there. So I had to like go into Audacity and like you know, cut out the intro so that it can fit the parameters better, and then like save the file specifically for the game. And then some of the files, for some reason, like the MP3s wouldn't play on the Wii. I think it's because of the bit rate or something. So I have to figure out like what plays on what, like what's compatible. And you would think, because like I listened to, especially back then, it was all like skate punk music that I listened to. Like, that was the extent of it. There was no variation. So like to you would think like, oh well, you know, it's just angry rock punk, skate punk music. But no, I had like other stuff too. I remember there was a really long map. It was like almost 5 minutes, which for the game was long. Like most maps were maybe 2.5, 3 minutes. But this one was longer, and it was it was a really hard one, and it was, I don't remember what the thing was, but I remember the song I picked was Jessica by the Allman Brothers, because it's just an instrumental, but it's a really long song, and even though it's not like a aggressive song, it has a high tempo and it's moving at a pretty good pace. So it always felt I always liked playing that, because I think you played them in kind of like in Mario Kart, where you play what are they called? Like, you play the World Tour or World Cup or whatever the hell, not the one race, but the one where you do 4 in a row. I think it was something like that. And I remember it's like the last one, the one that's like super hard. And then like one of the last songs, or one of the last like maps that you play, maybe it's the second to last one. I don't remember. It's been so long. It's been over a decade. And then it just plays, you know, this like instrumental southern rock track, and it was just, I don't know. It was definitely different from what I listened to at the time, but I knew of it and I love the song. To this day, I love it. But yeah, I don't know. It was, I have fond memories of that time, because it was like a little escape to play that game, and the wacky, you know, like just craziness of the game. And God, yeah, I remember one of the maps was like it was like a desert map, and I think the song that I picked, it was like a Shakira song, and it fit perfectly because it had so much like energy, and like the song had, it just went and went and went, and the song matched it really, really well, because it had like the heavy drums and like the, you know, her worldly instruments that she used in her music. But yeah, I don't know. The reason I'm bringing all this is I'm playing this game, and like I mentioned, this is clearly, I think this was very much made by the same team, because some of the assets in terms of the like when we were in Fiji, right? one of the maps was Fiji. That looks very familiar. Like I feel like I did that in Excite Truck. Like I mentioned, the timer things, what is it called? Not the timer things, but the countdowns or, oh, you bastard. Like all of those things look, the fonts and the font, that's what I'm trying to say. They look very familiar to me that I've seen in the past. So I don't know. That's I mean I guess that's all I got to say about this game. I got sidetracked there for a minute, just reminiscing. But you know, it's good to reminisce. It's I mean, this is gonna show up at a different time, obviously, but in real, like this current moment, I'm less than a week away from my birthday, and I always like to reminisce around this time of year because I'm like, you know what, it's crazy. It's another trip around the sun, and I don't know, something about Excitebike triggered Excite Truck, and I don't think I've ever told anyone about my little obsessiveness with not just things, but you know, Excite Truck at the time. But it is what it is. Well, I messed up here. I got a C and you need a B to continue. We're at time, so I'm gonna kill it here. That's all really I gotta say. This game's fine. I kind of almost did the whole thing. I don't know, man. It's controller, classic terrain, flat lane, but I think this game is perfectly fine. It's not world changing or life changing or anything like that. But it works. It plays. It, you know, it's a nice thing. I wish it had multiplayer and it wasn't like, I think when they came out with this game, they were like, oh, let's make one that uses the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection so that people can play online because we want to show everyone that we can do it. But in doing that, they took out probably local multiplayer, which is kind of a bummer because I think it would have done well. If you play with 4 people, I think it would have been fun. But I'm rambling again, as always. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you don't think I'm weird. Well,